My name's Fiona. I'm 58 years old. I live at home with my father. About 5 years ago, my husband and I moved to stay with my dad so that we could look after him together. But a couple of years in, my husband got very ill with cancer and he passed away 6 months later. So I was caring for him at that point for the 6 months of his illness, and now I'm caring for my dad at home alone. My father's nearly 92. He's got very advanced cancer. It's spread right through his bones now. The Anticipatory Care Planning nurse came out initially after my father's discharge from hospital and explained what the service was all about. I was fully involved in that discussion, and so was my dad. You know, he's still pretty able despite his conditions, and he's quite a strong-willed person, so he was keen to have his wishes heard, and to my mind that was what it was really all about. It was freeing me up as his carer to have the discussion about what he wanted. I learned that he wanted to be at home. He would rather not be in hospital if at all possible. And when it came to the end of life, he also would prefer to be at home. So I was able to have a calm discussion with my dad about these issues without us coming to verbal blows, which normally happened whenever we tried to discuss serious matters together. And so it was very helpful for me, and it was helpful, although difficult, for my dad. That visit was followed up by another visit where the ACP nurse did a joint assessment with the social worker, and again that opened up routes to getting an assessment, 6-week block, morning and evening short visits by carers who are still at the moment coming in and assisting my dad with washing and dressing. And that's been a great help to him, a great help to me, a relief to know that he's taking better care of his personal hygiene. And it's also a social intervention because he's pretty isolated at home. He doesn't really go out and about much. The interlinking and networking that came out of the first visit and then the second joint assessment has been very helpful to both of us. And I've been able to ask questions quite freely. I've been able to phone up if I had any concerns about my dad's health. Who should I contact about this? Is this an issue that you can advise me on? Should I call an ambulance? Is it nothing to worry about? Should we speak to the GP? As well as being involved in the drawing up of the plan for where my dad would be cared for at different levels of need. It's given me additional people that I can feel are out there, just a network of support.
I have to say that I am a great fan of anticipatory care. I absolutely love it. It really fits in very well and dovetails what the Carer Centre tries to do. The Carer Centre is very much about empowering people, and so is anticipatory care. It's enabling people to empower themselves to take charge of their lives, to get their lives back on track if they've been derailed by illness or something that's happened to them.
The difference, I would say, now that we've got the anticipatory care nurses on board and we have a plan, it's like night and day compared to what happened with my husband 2 years ago. I just felt I was in crisis, completely out of control, and so did my husband. We just didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what his wishes were. I didn't have a network of links. This time around, we now know that if my father needed to go into hospice care, or even for a few days for an assessment, if things escalate, then that would be possible. And he's in agreement that he would be happy to do that for a short period initially. There's also options being discussed of some respite for myself. My father's agreed that he might go for a few days into a respite care home to give me the chance of a break. Those were things that he'd been poo-pooing prior to the visits from the nurses, and he'd been putting off thinking about. But we now know that there are a range of stages and appropriate options for these stages, and the sense of having a plan out there, even if it changes, even if things have to be circumvented at some point in the future, just the knowledge that there's a plan and that there are people who know the situation, who have an overview, who can link with each other. It gives me a huge sense of relief and a sense of having some kind of control, both for my own well-being and my father's for the future.